the emperor of inner peace, why Marcus Aurelius still matters. In the chaos of modern life, where distractions never end, where stress feels constant, and where inner peace seems more myth than reality, there is one voice from history that continues to echo with power, clarity, and timeless wisdom. Marcus Aurelius. A Roman emperor. A battlefield general. A man burdened with the highest responsibilities on earth, who chose, in the silence of the night, to become a philosopher of the soul. While empires crumbled around him, Marcus turned inward. He didn't chase pleasure. He didn't cling to control. He didn't drown in rage. He practiced stoicism, not as an idea, but as a way of surviving the storm. And what he left behind in his private journal, what we now know as Meditations, is not just ancient text. It is a map, a guide to courage, to clarity, to strength in the face of adversity, to dignity in the middle of despair. Marcus never intended for his words to be published. They were reminders to himself, which makes them even more powerful because they're real, raw, human. They don't preach, they practice. And today, 2,000 years later, they are more relevant than ever. Why does Marcus Aurelius still speak to us? Because like us, he battled the mind. He faced betrayal. He suffered loss. He carried responsibility. And still, he searched for truth, not in others, but in himself. He reminds us that no title, no power, no wealth can replace the discipline of the soul. That true strength isn't about domination, it's about self-control. That greatness is measured not by how much you conquer the world, but by how well you master yourself. And in a time where everyone is shouting for attention, Marcus whispers, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That one sentence can shift a life. And in this video, we will explore many more. What you will discover in this series. We will break down the core teachings of Marcus Aurelius across 5 focused chapters. Each will explore a theme drawn directly from his meditations. How to remain calm under pressure. How to let go of ego and anger. How to embrace your mortality without fear. How to stay virtuous in a corrupt world. How to rise every day with purpose and inner power. This isn't about philosophy for the bookshelf. This is about stoicism for your real life. For your relationships. Your career. Your emotions. Your future. Whether you're going through a difficult moment, feel lost in modern noise, or simply want to elevate your mindset, Marcus has something to offer you. This is not just history, it's a mirror. The words of Marcus Aurelius are not about the Roman Empire. They're about the empire within you. Your thoughts. Your reactions. Your habits. Your values. He wrote to remind himself, "I must not fear pain. I must not be distracted by pleasure. I must live each day as if it were my last, but with discipline, not despair." If those reminders could help the most powerful man in the world stay grounded, imagine what they can do for you. Let's begin the journey. This is not a lecture. It's a call to return to what matters, to face yourself with courage, to drop the noise and embrace the stillness. Marcus Aurelius lived over 2 millennia ago. But today, he might be the mentor you didn't know you needed. Let's step into the wisdom of the philosopher-emperor. Let's rediscover Stoicism, not as ancient text, but as modern power. Let's begin. One of the most famous and most transformative lines from Marcus Aurelius is this: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Simple? Yes. Easy? No. Essential? Absolutely. This one idea is the core of Stoicism. It is the gateway to inner freedom. And in a world where we are constantly pulled by emotions, opinions, and external chaos, it is perhaps the most important lesson of all. Orange Circle real strength begins when we stop trying to control the world and start mastering how we respond to it. The illusion of control. Most people live as if they can manage the world around them. If I control this person, I'll be happy. If I get this job, I'll feel peace. If I avoid pain, I'll be strong. But Marcus knew better. He ruled an empire. He led armies. He faced plague, war, betrayal, and loss. Yet he constantly reminded himself, I cannot control what happens, only how I choose to meet it. This mindset allowed him to stay calm in chaos. And it can do the same for us. Modern life, ancient wisdom. Today, your external events might be a toxic coworker, a failed relationship, financial stress, social media noise, fear of the future. But none of those things are truly under your control. And trying to control them leads to anxiety, frustration, and exhaustion. Marcus teaches, shift the focus inward. Ask, what is my reaction? What is my role? How do I respond with virtue? That is where your power lies. Training the inner mind. Aurelius didn't just believe in controlling the mind, he trained it daily. His meditations weren't essays. They were exercises, repetitions, a mental gym. You can do the same. Try this. Each morning, write, what can I control today? Each evening, reflect, where did I react emotionally instead of wisely? This practice creates awareness. And awareness is the first step to mastery. What happens when you own your mind? When you accept full responsibility for your thoughts, three things happen. You become emotionally resilient. You stop being triggered by everything. You pause. You choose. You become reliable. People trust you, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. You gain peace. You stop fighting the world and start navigating it from a place of strength. That's what Marcus did. He didn't escape stress, he met it with stillness. Freedom through discipline. Epictetus, another Stoic, said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things which lie beyond our control. Marcus agreed. And what he shows us is this. Green circle discipline is not limitation, it's liberation. When you stop chasing what's outside your control, you begin to own your reactions, your values, your time, your life. You become the master, not the victim, of your circumstances. What this looks like in real life. A modern Stoic doesn't argue with every insult, they choose silence when it serves peace. Doesn't fall apart after failure, they study the lesson, then rise again. Doesn't demand others change, they refine themselves. This isn't weakness. It's real power. Quiet. Strong. Unshakable. The bottom line. Marcus Aurelius didn't just speak about strength, he lived it in the darkest hours. And his words remind us that no matter what life throws at us, green circle, our mind is ours. Our response is ours. Our virtue is ours. That is the beginning of true freedom. So the next time life tests you, repeat to yourself, I have power over my mind. I choose how I respond. I walk the Stoic path. And then walk it one clear step at a time. Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs? Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. These are not the words of a man who gave up. These are the words of a warrior, a ruler, a philosopher, a man who faced pain, death, betrayal, and loss, and still chose to say, "Green circle, yes. I accept this." Not because he was weak, but because he understood a truth deeper than most ever realize. Shield peace doesn't come from control. Peace comes from alignment with reality. Amor Fati, love your fate. The Stoics didn't just speak of accepting what happens. They went one step further. They called us to love it. Amor Fati, the love of fate, is the radical act of saying, I do not resist what life brings. I will use it. I will grow through it. I will turn it into fuel. Marcus Aurelius didn't want sickness, war, or death, but he refused to curse them. He saw them as part of a bigger picture he didn't need to fully understand. That mindset makes you invincible. What happens when you stop resisting life? Most suffering doesn't come from events. It comes from resistance. We get hurt, and we say, this shouldn't have happened. We fail, and we say, life is unfair. We age, and we say, why me? But Marcus teaches, direct hit, it did happen. It is happening. So now, how will you meet it? When you drop resistance, you don't lose power, you gain it. You move from reacting emotionally to responding with purpose. You stop being a victim of fate and become a partner of it, turning obstacles into opportunity. One of the greatest Stoic ideas is this. Orange circled, the obstacle is the way. Marcus believed that the things we fear most, pain, discomfort, endings, are not roadblocks. They are the road itself. Conflict teaches patience. Loss teaches gratitude. Failure teaches humility. Pain teaches presence. When you shift your mindset from why is this happening to me, to how can I grow from this, your entire life changes. You no longer wait for perfect conditions. You use what's in front of you. That's Amor Fati in action. Surrender is not defeat, it's discipline. Surrender in the Stoic sense doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of illusions. You stop demanding life behave exactly how you want. You stop clinging to outcomes. You stop judging what happens as good or bad. Instead, you ask, what does this moment require from me? What is the most honorable response I can give? That's not weakness. That's warrior mindset. How to practice Amor Fati daily. Try this practice from Marcus's perspective. Memo every morning, say, today I may face difficulty. It's part of the path. I will meet it with calm. Whatever comes today, I will not curse it. I will use it. Brain, when something unexpected happens, pause. Breathe. Say, this too is part of it. Over time, this rewires your nervous system. You stop living in tension. You become unshakable, not because life is easy, but because your spirit is disciplined. The bottom line. Marcus Aurelius didn't control the storms of life, but he learned to sail within them. He accepted everything, not passively, but with strength and wisdom. And through that acceptance, he found clarity. So the next time life brings you something unexpected, ask, what if this is not a curse, but a call? What if this isn't the end, but a beginning? What if fate is not against me, but working through me? That's Amor Fati. That's Stoic surrender. And that's how you turn every moment, even the hard ones, into a step toward greatness. Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. It is not your task to judge others, but to master yourself. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. We often imagine emperors as proud, boastful, untouchable. But Marcus Aurelius was the opposite. Despite ruling the Roman Empire, commanding armies, and being worshipped by millions, he reminded himself every day, "Green circle, I'm just a man. A mortal. A soul with a short time on this earth." That mindset wasn't weakness. It was freedom. Ego is the enemy. Ego wants status, recognition, praise. It tells us, I'm more important than others. I'm special, rules don't apply to me. I don't need to change, others do. But ego is a liar. It creates distance between you and truth. It makes you defensive, reactive, closed. Marcus knew that to lead others, you must first lead yourself. And that begins with destroying ego. Soon you will have forgotten the world. And soon the world will have forgotten you. Meditations. These words aren't depressing. They are liberating. They remind us that we are not gods. We are not owed anything. We are here briefly, so let's live wisely. Humility is power, not weakness. Modern culture often mistakes humility for softness. But Stoic humility is quiet strength. It means admitting when you're wrong, listening more than speaking, letting go of the need to prove anything. Marcus Aurelius didn't act superior because he knew the truth. I am made of the same breath and bones as everyone else. When you drop ego, you become open to growth. You're no longer protecting a fake image. You're refining your real self. Focus on what you can control, yourself. Ego says, change them. Humility says, change me. That's Stoicism in action. You don't waste time on gossip, comparison, or judgment. You use that energy to build your discipline. Practice gratitude. Live in alignment with virtue. Marcus reminds us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. That line can guide an entire life. Let go of applause and criticism. One of the most powerful Stoic practices is this. She'll become indifferent to praise and blame. Whether people love you or hate you, it doesn't matter. Why? Because your worth doesn't come from what they think. It comes from who you are when no one's watching. Marcus wrote often about fame as vanity. He believed that chasing recognition was a trap. Real success, to him, was internal peace. The approval of 10,000 people is meaningless if you don't approve of yourself. That's Stoic greatness. Quiet. Rooted. Free. Practice daily humility. Try this. Each morning, say, I am not above mistakes. I am not below improvement. When someone criticizes you, don't react, ask, is there truth in this? When praised, smile, but don't attach. You are not your compliments. Over time, this mindset builds inner confidence, not based on reputation, but reality. The bottom line. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man of his time. And yet, he began each day by reminding himself of his smallness. Not to shrink himself, but to stay grounded, clear, focused on what matters. Let go of the ego that says I'm special, and step into the Stoic strength that says, I am a soul, a man, a mind. I am here to live well, not to be admired. When you live like that, something amazing happens. Clapping hands, you become respected not because you seek it, but because you embody it. That's the paradox of humility. The quieter your strength, the louder your presence. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. This is not a threat. This is not fear-mongering. This is freedom. This sentence, perhaps the most iconic in all of Stoic philosophy, is a wake-up call. Because in modern life, we live as if we have unlimited time. We scroll. We postpone. We hold grudges. We tell ourselves, I'll do it tomorrow. But Marcus Aurelius didn't have that luxury. And neither do we. He reminds us of the truth we don't want to face. Candle, you will die. Maybe not today. Maybe not soon. But one day. And in that truth, there is power. Memento Mori, remember, you will die. In Latin, Memento Mori means, remember you must die. The Stoics didn't use this to create fear. They used it to create focus. Marcus wrote often about death, not morbidly, but honestly. He saw death not as the enemy, but as the clarifier. The great filter through which everything meaningless falls away. When you remember you're mortal, you stop wasting time. You forgive faster. You live deeper. You speak more truth. You love more boldly. Stop acting like you'll live forever. Marcus warned. You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. In other words, we fear death like it's real, but we waste time like we're immortal. That contradiction is what keeps people trapped. Saying yes to things that don't matter. Postponing the things that do. Living someone else's life instead of their own. But the Stoic flips that script. They ask daily, Candle, if I died tonight, would I be proud of how I lived today? That's not dark. That's discipline. Time is your most precious resource. Marcus constantly reminded himself that time is not guaranteed. That each day is a gift. Each moment is an opportunity. And he wrote things like, do not waste what remains of your life in hesitation. Or, how much more time will you waste before you demand the best from yourself? This was an emperor. He had every distraction, every indulgence, every comfort. But still, he humbled himself with the truth. You can't control how long you live, but you can control how well. Live now, fully, deliberately. Imagine if you truly embraced this idea. You could leave life right now. How would you live differently? Would you still argue about meaningless things? Scroll endlessly? Stay silent about what matters? Wait for permission to follow your path? Or would you speak boldly? Love without delay? Take action on your dreams? Forgive, release, and move forward? That's the point of Memento Mori. Not to depress you, but to ignite you. Daily practices to live stoically aware. Try this. Each morning, say, today is not promised, but I will live it with virtue. Each night, ask, if this was my last day, did I live like I meant it? This habit transforms how you spend your time. You stop being passive. You become present, powerful, free. The bottom line. You don't need to fear death. You need to fear wasting life. Marcus Aurelius did not let his status distract him from this truth. He faced his mortality daily and used it as fuel to live fully, honestly, urgently. And now, you can too. So the next time you hesitate, the next time you delay, the next time you think someday, remember the emperor's whisper. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. That is the ultimate Stoic clarity. That is how you begin to live, not later, not someday, but now. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. For Marcus Aurelius, the question was never, what do I want? It was always, what is right? Not what is popular. Not what is comfortable. Not what feels good in the moment. But what aligns with virtue. This was the foundation of his power, not armies, not wealth, not fear. His greatest strength came from living a life aligned with something higher than emotion. Direct hit reason, justice, discipline, courage. In the Stoic view, virtue is not just a moral concept. It is the only true good. Everything else, money, success, reputation, is indifferent. Only virtue determines if a life was well lived. The 4 Stoic virtues. Marcus, like the Stoics before him, built his philosophy on 4 core pillars. Brain wisdom, understanding what is within your control, and acting accordingly. Shield courage, facing hardship, fear, and truth without backing down. Balance scale justice, treating others fairly, honestly, and without selfishness. Person in lotus position temperance, practicing self-discipline, balance, and moderation. These aren't abstract ideas. They are tools. Lenses through which a Stoic evaluates every action, decision, and reaction. Why virtue over emotion? Emotion is fleeting. Virtue is permanent. Emotions come and go. They can lie. They can trick you into speaking when you should be silent. Reacting when you should be still. Attacking when you should walk away. Marcus Aurelius understood this. That's why he didn't ask himself, how do I feel about this? He asked, is this aligned with my principles? Would I be proud of this action if I were being watched by my highest self? That's Stoic alignment. That's real power. What virtue looks like in daily life. Virtue isn't glamorous. It's often silent, private, unseen. It's choosing honesty when lying would be easier. Saying no when the crowd says yes. Staying calm in the face of anger. Admitting when you're wrong, even when your ego screams not to. Marcus never chased status. He chased integrity. And he knew. Green circle, nothing brings more peace than a clean conscience. The most dangerous thing is to betray your own soul. You can lose money, status, even health, and still live a good life. But betray your principles, and you lose something far more precious. Stop signing your respect for yourself. That's what Marcus feared most, not death, but becoming someone he couldn't admire. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. This was his daily war, to act according to virtue, not opinion. That is the battle we all must face. Living virtuously in a modern world. In today's culture of shortcuts, manipulation, and noise. Virtue is rebellion. A Stoic in the modern world is not loud. They are disciplined, honest, measured. While others chase comfort, the Stoic chases character. While others demand attention, the Stoic masters their attention. While others react, the Stoic responds, from values, not feelings. This is how you build a life that doesn't just look good from the outside, but feels strong from the inside. The bottom line. Marcus Aurelius didn't strive to be admired, he strove to be honorable. And in doing so, he became one of history's most respected men. You don't need to be emperor to live like Marcus. You just need to make one decision. To choose virtue over comfort. To choose principle over ego. To choose the right thing, even when no one's watching. Because, in the end, all Stoic wisdom boils down to this. Just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. That's how you live free. That's how you live with peace. That's how you live the Stoic way. The Stoic crown: rule yourself before you rule the world. He was an emperor, commander of legions, master of the Roman Empire. But every night, Marcus Aurelius picked up his pen, not to record victories, not to brag about power, but to wrestle with his own mind. He didn't write for history. He wrote for clarity. He didn't seek glory. He sought virtue. He didn't want control over others. He wanted control over himself. And that's the message we're left with. Green Circle true power is not in conquest. It's in character. The real empire is within. What do you rule? Your schedule? Your income? Your image? None of that matters if you can't rule your own reactions, your own fear, your own impulses, your own ego. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So if your thoughts are reactive, negative, shallow, so will your life be. But if your thoughts are disciplined, grateful, grounded, your life reflects that strength. That's the real empire. That's the Stoic crown. From knowing to being. Maybe you've heard these ideas before. Control what you can. Accept what you can't. Live in alignment with virtue. But hearing is not enough. The Stoics didn't admire philosophy. They lived it. Daily. Quietly. Relentlessly. They didn't try to be perfect. They tried to be present. They didn't wait for peace. They practiced it through the way they walked, spoke, and responded. So the question is, Compass, will you live what you now know? Modern world. Ancient power. The world today is louder than ever. It tells you to chase attention, pleasure, perfection. It tells you you're always missing something. It feeds your insecurity and distracts you from the truth. But Marcus offers you an antidote. He doesn't shout. He doesn't sell. He simply whispers. Look within. There lies the fountain of good. If you can hear that voice through the noise, and act on it, not just admire it, you step into something rare. You become a Stoic in a world of chaos. You become unmoved by insult, unchained by desire, unshaken by hardship. You don't rise because of circumstance. You rise despite it. And that's what it means to live with quiet strength. What to do next? Start small. Green Circle: begin your day with reflection, not distraction. Green Circle: respond, don't react. Green Circle: forgive what you cannot control. Green Circle: hold your word with weight. Green Circle: do what is right, even when it's hard. Over time, you'll change, not just how you act, but who you are. You won't need applause. You won't need validation. You'll walk through life with a calm others can feel. That's what Stoicism offers, not comfort, but command. Not perfection, but peace. Not noise, but inner nobility. One last reminder from the emperor. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now, take what's left and live it properly." That's your challenge. To stop drifting. To stop delaying. To rise. Now. This isn't just a video. It's an invitation. To leave behind the chaos, the ego, the excuses, and step into the mindset of a philosopher-emperor. To live with reason. To move with discipline. To love with presence. To rule, first and foremost, yourself. That's the Stoic crown. And now, it's yours to wear.